Hello. Since Thursday's my birthday, I wanted to do a get to know Batgirljamie video. So first I'm going to share this, guys. We are going to share this with everybody I know. Okay, I wanted to make sure that I was on the right channel because I wanted to upload it here. I'm going to do one on my channel later, tomorrow. Drinking a Gatorade. I've been into the zero sugar Gatorade lately, and I've been buying them by the big things of them. And this is Glacier Cherry. It's one of my favorite flavors. Let's go to YouTube and share this with people so we can get some people in here and ask me questions. Now, let me see. Okay. I'm gonna open my Gatorade. Okay, now who's watching? Could you please say hello and give me a thumbs up, please, and thank you? I appreciate it if you do. Okay. Now I'm gonna do a get to know me. This is probably one of my favorite flavors of Gatorade. Put some lotion on my hands so I don't get extra dry. It really helps. This hand cream. Keep it by keeping it at my desk, so when I'm at my desk, I can. Okay. Now, I took a long nap earlier because the lotion works better if you get it rubbed in good. Pushes it deeper into your skin. That's my trick. Okay. So, anyways, I'm gonna tell you, get to know me. My 3 most favorite movies are My Girl, Perks of Being a Wallflower. My 4 favorite movies: Perks of Being a Wallflower, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, and Almost Famous. I haven't watched Almost Famous in a long time. If I got Almost Famous, I might watch that tonight after I get off here. I was so tired last night, this afternoon, that I just went and laid down. And then I got up and ate me another tuna sandwich. I was born August 27th, 1979. I'm from Michigan. Me and Twisted Tea are both from Michigan. My favorite soda is Coca-Cola. I own a PlayStation 3, an Xbox One X, and I love listening to records, as you guys know. Probably my favorite record I own is my copy of Fall Out Boys from Under the Cork Tree. But my rarest record, I got some old, well, I don't know if they're rare, but my favorite older records are my Beatles ones or my Led Zeppelin records, because those are my favorite bands. But albums I've listened to the most, like when I was in high school and stuff like that, was like the Cranberries, No Need to Argue, and everyone else is doing it, so why can't we? The Beatles, Yellow Submarine. They're like greatest hits, and they're like one's blue and one's red, and then one of the Beatles albums, and that was that, and the album Help, and the album Yellow Submarine. I used to have Yellow Submarine on vinyl, but when I got separated from my husband, I threw away all my records, and that wasn't it. Lauryn Hill's Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Brandy's Never Say Never album, that album and her first album. What was another album in high school that was just like a favorite of mine that I just played and played and played? Mariah Carey's Butterfly and Mariah Carey's Rainbow, probably. Those were probably my favorite albums in high school. Blood Sugar Sex Magic and Nirvana's Unplugged album. Those were my favorite albums in high school. Those were ones that I listened to so damn much. My favorite song is Dreams by the Cranberries. My favorite TV show, some of my favorite TV shows in high school were high school in the 90s were like Blossom. That 70s show came out right after I graduated from high school, so that was one of my favorites, but that really doesn't count as a high school love. I really liked Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but I think that was before I was in high school. It was probably Clueless, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Clueless might have been like right around the time I graduated, but Sabrina the Teenage Witch was definitely high school. My So-Called Life was my favorite show when I was in high school, and we only had one season, and I was so mad because they left open ending. They left an open ending, and it was so. I hate when a show only has one season and they leave an open ending. 90210 was another favorite of mine. That was what else? I'm gonna look this up because I can't remember what shows were in the 90s. Okay, let's see. I didn't like I didn't like Seinfeld. I didn't really care for I used to kind of like Home Improvement, but I kind of realized it's not that my thing. I did like Roseanne and Friends and Full House and The Nanny. That 70s show came out the year I graduated, that fall, and that was my favorite. Dawson's Creek was around the time I graduated. We're gonna see. We're gonna go 95. Wings. I like that, but I never watched. I only watched it in reruns. Man About You wasn't too crazy about that. I didn't like Texas Rocker Ranger. I didn't really care for Coach. I didn't like NYPD Blues. I didn't like Boston Common. What was Boston Common? I did like Caroline in the City. I did like Grace Under Fire. That was one of my shows in high school. I didn't really watch Cosby. I liked Caroline in the City and Third Rock from the Sun. Those were shows I liked. I don't remember what Fired Up was. The 90s didn't have a lot of good TV shows. I watched a lot of like um I watched Dharma and Greg, I'll admit that, and King of the Hill. Beavis and Butthead, but that I think I watched Veronica's Closet. I didn't watch ER. I didn't really watch. I watched Home Improvement. Um, Everyone Who Loves Raymond came out about the time I graduated. Always loved The Simpsons, and stuff like that. And I think um that's about it for TV shows and movies. My favorite movies in high school were Clueless, She's All That, Wayne's World was one of my favorites. Let me see. Let's go. Popular. Uh, Forrest Gump was one of my favorites. I didn't watch Pulp Fiction until I was older. I didn't watch Clerks till I was older. I didn't watch Crow till I was older. I loved Interview with the Vampire. I didn't really like Dumb and Dumber. I did like Ace Ventura when I was younger. Did like Forrest Gump a whole lot though when I seen it. That was one of my favorite movies from high school. And any movies that were out. I didn't really watch Natural Born Killers when I was in high school. Crooklyn was one of my favorite movies when I was in high school. It's about a black family who lives in Brooklyn, and they send the little girl away because the mom gets sick, and then she comes back because her mom died to be with her family. Forrest Gump was one of my favorite movies. I liked Lion King. I wasn't that crazy about it. It wasn't like something that I gravitated towards like to watch a million times like my sister. I did like Pulp Fiction. Top movies. I liked Batman. I liked Toy Story. Waterworld. I didn't watch Waterworld. Jumanji was only okay to me. But that's about all I watched. Those were some Clueless and stuff like that was what I was really into in like 95. Let's check 96. Until movies and basically until movies were like readily available and I was older, I didn't really have a lot of movies because my parents didn't buy us movies. My parents weren't one of those people that let us buy a bunch of movies. That's why I didn't. The Nutty Professor was one of my favorites, but we had to watch it if it was on TV. We didn't get to buy all these movies like other people did, so that's why it was different for us, me and my sister. Titanic was one of my favorite movies when I was younger. I've seen it 2 to 3 times in the theater. That was one of my favorite movies that year. Men in Black was probably one of my favorites too. But I didn't really see a lot of these movies I seen later because my parents weren't big movie people, but I was. So it was kind of different for us. My parents didn't like to let us have blankets out in the living room and just watch movies. They weren't one of those people, so that's why. Like a lot of these movies that I probably would have watched, like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, like with the internet wasn't as readily available and easy to use as it is now, and vast full of streaming stuff. So we didn't get to watch all that stuff like a lot of people did. Like my dad took my grandma to see Saving Private Ryan. That was like one of the last times they really done anything. Like one of their things they used to do is he would take her and go in The Wedding Singer was one of my favorite movies back then in Pleasantville. Waterboy. I went and seen Waterboy in the theater my senior year, the year I graduated. Man in the Iron Mask, and that was about it. And Urban Legends. I seen Urban Legends in the theater with my best friend. My best friend, his name is Chad, and he's gay and married, and I love it. I love him. He's always been a really good friend who I could talk to. This card I'm going to use to go to Yankee Candle. I want to get some candles or something. Another thing about me is I'm majorly obsessed with Marilyn Monroe. Like I have been since I was 12 years old. I watched one on Disney Channel, like 7 Year Itch, I think it was. And ever since then, I've been just obsessed with her. They used to show old classic movies late at night on Disney Channel back in the day, and that's where I got my obsession for her. Because as soon as I seen her and learned about her, that's what I went. This is my phone. It's a Samsung A20, and I got it from Boost Mobile, and I love it. I have a Samsung A Tab A, the one from 2019, and I freaking love it. And I have 2 subscription boxes, one to BoxyCharm, which is a makeup subscription, and another makeup subscription bag that's Ipsy, and I love them. And I get them every month. I do have Xbox Live, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is your Xbox Live and your Xbox Game Pass. I collect records, and my record player is an Audio-Technica AT LP60, and I love it. And that's the model that I have. And I have to an LG. It's the CM4360 stereo. And it sounds really good. It's really clear. The music sounds really clear on it. And the records sound really good. And I Bluetooth my stereo up in my bedroom. I have a little Bluetooth thing that I can hook to the headphone jack that's in the back of my little boombox, and I can Bluetooth it to my stereo, and then I can play my cassette tapes on my stereo, so it sounds better. And I did my Beach Boys tape, which that's all I have, because every time I go to Goodwill, where I work, we're only allowed to buy books and CDs and media, movies and music, like that, on our day off. So I don't really go in there on my day off, but I'd like to go in there and buy a bunch of cassette tapes. I would like to buy some more cassette tapes because I would like to get into cassette tapes a little bit. I keep them in the top dresser drawer, the same drawer I keep my underwear in. So that I keep them because I only have 2 Beach Boys tapes. I cannot find any. I got a really good Beach Boys tape, and then I got one that's a Beach Boys Live that I had since I think I got it for my 12th birthday. And that was awesome. I live alone in my apartment. I did get new furniture. I don't know if I ever did a video showing you guys on my main channel, but I might just do a little vlog for you guys and show my furniture and do a little vloggy vlog one day soon. I should do a video like that soon because it would be awesome. What else? What else? My TV is a TCL Roku TV that's a 43-inch. And I love it. I don't really watch DVDs much anymore, but I still have most of my collection. I did sell off part of my collection just to get a Beatles record that I wanted, and then I gave some to my niece and some to my sister's boyfriend's son because I just wanted to get rid of them when I was moving. And then recently, I just bagged up a whole bunch and I donated them to my mom's neighbor, who doesn't have a lot of money. So I gave her it's her son, and her son's girlfriend, and their babe, and her grandson. So I gave them a bag of movies to get rid of them, so I didn't have them all over my apartment, so I could have more room to put pictures. But I took my niece and my cousin's daughter's pictures from their graduation. They gave me like little announcements that they graduated, so I sent them. So I put them in some picture frames that my mother bought me because I love to display pictures. Like, one of my favorite pictures is the one that's on my desk, and it's of my mom and my godfather, which is her baby brother. They're really close in age. They're not even 2 years apart, and they've been best friends since birth. My mom's loved him since birth, since he was born. They've always gotten along for the most part. You know how brothers and sisters fight? They probably did, because that's normal. But they still love each other immensely. They're like best friends. That's why he's my godfather. And her oldest sister was my godmother, but she died of brain cancer when I was like 10 or 11. I think I might have been close to 11. No, yeah, I was about 10 going on 11 when she died. And her grandson was born not long after. She might have died in 89 or 90. And my mom always treated her daughter like a daughter and took care and watched over her whole life. She's like the only sister that ever was really freaking close with her. So she was really close. And so she was really close with her kids, and I was really close with her, and I would go and hang out with them. When I first graduated, I used to babysit for my godmother, my cousin's kids, the one that lost her mother, that was my godmother. She didn't know that for a long time that her mom was my godmother. I loved her mother. My grandparents died when I was real little, so I really got gypped of having grandparents. Like, they were older because they didn't get married until they were older. They were like my grandpa might have even been in his 30s almost when he got married to my grandmother. So they were older. That's why. Like, my other grandparents were younger because my grandparents started having kids when my grandma was 15. My biological dad's mother. That's why they were younger. My grandma, all my grandparents are dead except for my grandpa on my biological dad's side. My adopted grandparents died when I was young. In 96 is when I lost. In 2006 is when we finally lost my adopted dad, my dad that adopted me, which I love him dearly. He has been the best thing that's ever happened to me and my mom. And now I have a sister because of that, and we're really close. And I used to live with her. I lived with her for 8 years, almost 9, 8 years. I moved in with her in 2000. No, I lived with her for 9 years. Moved in with her in 2011, and I lived with her until 2009. Yeah, so I lived with her. I lived with her until 2019. Oh, and I lived here 1 year in my apartment, and I'm so excited about that. And Thursday's my birthday, and I'll be 41. This quarantine's getting to me because I can't hang out with my friends for my birthday. So, if you go on LiveMe, Thursday I'm going one night before I go to bed, I'm going to do a live stream for my birthday. So, if you do use LiveMe, come to my birthday live stream. The only thing I asked for was strawberry cheesecake. That's all I want, is strawberry cheesecake for my birthday. And the record that I've been listening to lately, the last one I listened to was Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails. I love the song Terrible Lies and Head Like a Hole, and those are on there. And I fucking love that album. It's such a good album. 9 Inch Nails, I think that's like their first really big commercial success. Their first successful album. I have 2 siblings that are from my stepdad, from my adopted dad, and 2 from my actually I have 2 step siblings from my dad that adopted me. That's like my dad. Like us. He's been so good to me. I couldn't be more thankful for a better dad than him. He's done me right through the years. He's done me and my sister so right. My stepsister and my stepbrother, I don't think of them as step. They're older than me, and they were from my dad's first marriage before he met me and my mom. And I love them dearly, and their kids, I love them to death. I never once think of them as not my sister and brother. But my baby sister's my sister's sister. And then my dad, my biological dad, I have 3 more siblings. One that what happened to me happened to her. And then, which is, I think our stepdad adopted us because he gave us up for adoption because he wasn't around. And then he had 2 kids with his wife he has now, which are my youngest brother and sister, they're 21 and 22. So there's that. And I live here, and I live across the parking lot from my uncle, and I live across the street from my parents. So if anything happens, I have 2 sets of people that can be here in a second, like within 5 minutes. So that I'm grateful on that because I do have Asperger's syndrome and I do need people close. And then my sister lives like 6 minutes in a car. So I'm not completely left alone. Like I'm alone, but I'm alone safely. Like I have people that I can call in a minute that could be here if something bad happened, which I'm grateful for. I have 3 I have 5 nieces and 3 nephews. And I could have more because I still have 2 siblings that haven't had kids yet. So, but my favorite are my niece that I'm closest with is the one that I lived with for 8 years. I lived with her for 8 years. And she's my little Pooh Bear. And she's gonna be 13 in March. And I'm so like, just can't believe that she was like 3. She was 3 years old when I moved in with her in 2011. 2011. Um, um, the hardest thing that I had to go through, probably 2 of the hardest things, was watching someone. This might make me cry, so bear with me, but it's a story time. One of the hardest times was when my cousin died of a drug overdose, and watching my cousin cry because she lost her brother after she already lost her mother. And I know how bad she wanted the best for her brother, and she always tried so hard. She did the best she could, but she could only do so much because she had 2 boys she had to support. And the time that was the most hardest for me in my life, that made me a little sad for a long time, was when my uncle died. I still get really sad about it. Like, he was like this happy, funny, loving person, and everybody loved him, just like my godfather, which is my mom's baby, but this was my mom's older brother. She has 3 brothers that are older than her and 1 that's younger, and then she has 3 older sisters, but 1's gone. And the hardest, I think my mom's older sister who found him in his kitchen, because he had a surgery and he had a massive heart attack in the morning. Nobody will, I think she's been screwed up ever since. She takes things a lot. She, she's not handled that very well at all. Like, I handle it for the most part and I'm fine, but there's certain little things that remind me of him and wish I could just see him and see his smile and hear his voice and just know that him and my mom were kind of close. And I cried for 2 weeks because his poor 3-year-old grandson had just lost his grandpa. Okay, enough about that story. But I get times where I'm okay with it, but towards St. Patrick's Day, I get between March and April. He died in April, so in March and April, and it's been 7 years, almost 8. I get a little bit emotional, and when I listen to certain songs, it reminds me of him, and it makes me sad. So because it doesn't make me sad because he's it makes me sad, but at the same time, it makes me happy because I had a really wonderful uncle who loved us all and loved my cousins and his grandkids very much. He was just one of those people that he had my cousins lived with him for quite a while before they moved out and got married. And they only did because they didn't want to just make their dad live alone. He didn't live with. He wouldn't let my aunt spend. My aunt was going to spend the night with him that night, and he wouldn't let her. He said he'll be fine. You can just come back in the morning. So she went home, went to bed, and came back about 10 o'clock in the morning and found him on the floor. I seen him laying there on the floor. We had our priest, before the coroner took him away, we had our priest come and do a prayer for him from our church. And that was really nice, and I was there for that. But when my sister, how I found out he was gone is my sister was frantically calling me, and she never calls me at work, ever. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. So she couldn't get a hold of me, and she was saying, call me ASAP, and she couldn't get a hold of me. And when she came into my work and said, I need to talk to my sister, it's very important, and she told me, and I fell on the floor and just started bawling my eyes out and said, where's my cousins? That part always gets me. This is the part of my story. And I just bawled my eyes out. And they let me leave because they knew I wouldn't be able to work. I was so upset. And then I went, oh, my cousins came. Everybody was there. And we all were there for my cousins. And it was so nice. Because they needed us so bad. But what made me so sad is my one cousin didn't really have a good dad. His dad was kind of a piece of shit to him. And he was so close with my uncle. They did stuff almost more than he did with his sons. He treated him like his second son. That's my aunt that found him. That's her son, his nephew. When he came in and I saw a grown man cry like that, that was heartbreaking. Just to look on his face and how upset he was. Even his ex-wife came and she was so upset. She still loved him. Even though they weren't married, she still said he was the love of her life. No matter how they got along, she still loved him because of her kids. And that's something you don't. That's something you don't. She just loved him. Even though they didn't get along and they separated, she never lost her love for him. No, most people loved him. Once they got to know him, just loved the shit out of him. He had so many friends at his funeral and family. Oh my God, we had family. One time, my mom was having a big surgery when she had her surgery, and I was so appreciative because my mom's cousin, who's my grandpa's sister's daughter, came and sat with us, me and my aunt and uncle the whole time. And sat there and was emotional support. She didn't have to. She knew she was at hospital because I was posting like progress reports for her family, so they would know that she's okay. Because I wanted to make sure that they knew she was okay. Because her brother lives up north, and so does her sister, but her sister was down. So everybody that cared about her would know what was wrong and what was going on and how her surgery went. And I was good about that because I wanted to make sure that everybody in my family knew. So they could make sure my mom was okay. Because some people couldn't be there because they had to work. And it was unnecessary. It was just me, my sister, my mom, my mom's baby brother, and her older sister. She's the sister that's the step above her. And it was just wonderful. to know that that many people care about her and my uncle. And then at his funeral, I met some. God, he had so many friends. It was so crazy how many people loved him. Just to know that somebody was loved that much and that you loved him too, and he loved all of us. That made me really happy. I was so sad. I just cried his whole funeral. I sat with my aunt, just was upset. I know when my mom or my uncle dies, I'm gonna be ballistic. Worse. I just know I will. It's just that way. So that's all I really got to say about that. Let's move on from that sad story. Um, um, I bought the new Twilight book and I need to start reading. If you guys didn't know, the new Twilight book is out. It's Midnight Sun. I'm going to read it. I'm probably going to save it for winter. And I got a karaoke machine. It's one that's a Bluetooth that you can look up karaoke songs and hear on YouTube, and then you can play them on your tablet, and the sound will go through the thing. So I do that, and it's really freaking fun. I figured out how to use it, and I really freaking love it. I want to have my friends over for a karaoke party. I wish my friend Deanna could come see how my apartment looks and hang out with me. I wonder if her dad would let her out for the day so she could come see me because I miss her. I miss hanging out with all my friends in a big friend group. But she don't drive. She don't go anywhere. She stays locked up in her house, and I don't think that's healthy. And then I think she needs a car to get out. It's kind of sad. It makes me sad. Then there's my friend Crystal, who has 2 kids, and we hang out when we can. And then there's Tristan J, who I hang out with the most, but he couldn't come hang out with me last weekend when we were going to, because his aunt was in town. His aunt has a house here and a house in so he went and stayed the weekend with her because she wasn't doing well and she wanted him to come stay with her. This is the story, okay? She lives in North or South Carolina, I can't remember. I think it's North Carolina. And she was up here because she has a house in both states because she has family up here. And her son got sick with COVID and got put in the hospital. He was only 24 years old. And he just got married and had a baby not that long ago. And he got COVID and died. And that took a toll on her. And then he said her other son killed himself because he couldn't handle that. And then her husband had cancer. Josh's uncle had cancer. So, and he ended up getting COVID. So he said he's dead anyways, and he didn't want to suffer, so he just killed himself. And now she's alone. Her 2 kids are dead, and so is her husband. So she's just like an emotional wreck. So she's I don't know if her other son killed himself or if he was the one that and then one of Josh's other cousins got shot in by a Black Lives Matters because he was a cop and they were being just violent towards cops at that time. Please don't be violent because of what one person's actions are. You don't need to hurt others because of that. Kind of revenge is not healthy, and having revenge on somebody who has nothing to do with what happened to the one person, do it to a totally different person. It's not revenge, and it's not going to make the situation any better. Please, let's not do that. Okay, recently I ordered me a Biden shirt on Amazon, so I'm gonna have that. I can't wait for us to do the election and see who wins and be over this nastiness. Let's not be nasty on somebody. Please, let's not be nasty to somebody because they have different opinions than you and they don't think the same as you, because they might be raised different and be raised in a different kind of, to be a free thinker and not just do what someone tells you to do, basically. So I was raised to think for myself and to not press my opinions on others. And I wear my mask to protect you. And I appreciate you guys that wear your mask to protect me. And when the CDC or a bunch of scientists tell you to do something, do that. If someone's not a scientist and they're not don't have no medical training whatsoever, do not, I repeat, do not do what they tell you to do. If they tell you to do the opposite of a scientist or somebody who's medically trained 100% and knows all about the medical and knows all of it and is really smart and has awards for it, because you're looking to the wrong person. You want to listen to those scientists and listen to them because they know. Okay. They're saying that this virus got out of that got out of this that laboratory in China because somebody was careless and spilled the virus and got the virus themselves and spread it before they knew how dangerous it was. So that's how it got. But see, one thing I have to say about North Korea, this is just my opinion. They might be a dictatorship. They can't do much and blah blah blah. But one thing that leaving the country and entering that country isn't mostly not permitted. So that being said, that makes their city and that part of the country of Korea a little bit safer than our countries, because our president was still letting people come in and out when he knew that this virus. He didn't want to believe it, because if you believe, he didn't want to stop foreign travel and foreign stuff because he's working for big business. So he people that work for big business aren't gonna want to do necessarily what is going to stop big business, because they're part of big business. A lot of them own big businesses, and some of them have friends that own big businesses, and they're not going to stop with their friends that are greasing their palms, probably, are going to not want to shut down their businesses. Like, our business is really behind in making money. Really behind in making money. And that's sad. I think one way I think our business could make more money is to take the stuff that's going to be thrown out that week and mark it down just a slight bit. If they don't want to do a full, I think if they don't want to do a full half off, then do a 20% color. But I think we should just take it and mark it down $1. Anything with that color is $1 less. The color that I'm pulling. But we're trying. We're trying. Our store's trying to get back once maybe we get back open, being able to be back open full time. See, we're open 3 hours less than normal. That's why we're not making those 3 hours. We can make another $1,000 to $2,000, another probably $5,000 a week. That's probably where a lot of our missed sales are. And those people that can't come in after 6, can't come in before 6 or after because they work and can't come in before, are people that probably would come in more and buy more, but they just we're not open for them to be able to do it. And I think that's a lot of why we're not selling some stuff, because those people can't come in. I think that's some of it. Some of it's we don't have the half off color anymore because we're trying to make up for the 2 months that we were, or however long we were locked in lockdown. And right before they locked our state down, we were getting way less customers. We were so less that they let some people decide to take an early, they let some people take some time off if they wanted to. Mandatory 2 weeks off, take a temporary 2 weeks off. So I chose to take that because of my mother and not wanting to expose my mother who had breast cancer a couple years ago, like 2.5 years ago. I didn't want to get her having sick with COVID, or my dad, so because they're older. And so I chose to take a couple weeks off. Earlier I took a week and a half of I took 2 weeks of sick pay for that, and I'm just building my sick pay back up now. I've only took one sick day this whole year because of COVID, and it was because I had so bad cramps from my period that I couldn't stand up. It hurt too bad to stand up, so otherwise I wouldn't have taken the day off. But other than that, I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. And we're having a sale. Our store's having a sale, and I hope it goes good and it helps. It's just a clothing sale. But like I said, we need to have something different on sale. We need to have something different on sale every day to make people want to go towards that. Like media half off, or shoes half off, or half off all women's clothes, or half off all kids' clothes one day, just to push things to sell instead of having them all week. Maybe that would work. I don't know. There's got to be something we can do. Like regular stores have sales all the time, just on certain things, just to get rid of stuff that's been there too long instead of throwing it out. Maybe we need to do that. Because there's just a certain amount of stuff that's just because we have a set price for most things, and you have to, so that it's easier, so we don't have to like reprice everything. Our set prices put prices on every little item. Like certain things have set prices, like clothing, and we just put a color on them, which is so much easier than putting a little paper tag on it. We used to have to put a little paper tag with the price on everything when we did clothes. That's why we paid somebody to do a pricing of the clothes. It was crazy. Anyways, I'm glad they don't do that no more, because that was kind of hard. And because each of us are pricing, we used to have two or three people that hung clothes, and one person that sorted them. We had 2 people that hung the clothes, one person that sorted them, and one person that tagged them. And in between sorting, if the person found anything that wasn't clothing, they would just price it and put it in a bin. And when they were done, if they didn't have anything else to sort for that moment, they would go and put the stuff away. If there was nobody to put the stuff away. And we used to have the cashiers had a lot more work to do. They had to put bins away and put the racks away. They had a lot more work back at our old store, our first store. Because I was a cashier, I had to put away bins and put away racks of clothes. And I once got written up for not being able to put the racks away fast enough when I was also running register, which is not fair. That's totally not fair. But I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, I guess that's all I got to say for now. I remember there was times when we had to clean out the dressing rooms where there was a heap, and I mean a heap and ton of clothes in the dressing room. Oh, I got a story for you guys. I went to reach for clothes and almost stuck my hand in somebody's poop. Somebody pooped in the dressing room. And that happened like 2 or 3 times at that store. And at this store, and and it was just gross. Like, we had so many people. But that's all I got to say for now. I'm going to get off here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget that I'm doing a birthday stream on LiveMe on Thursday. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful week and weekend. I will see you guys in my next live stream. Make sure you hit this subscribe button and subscribe and become a member of the Dead Fam. And also hit that bell so you get notified every time we go live, every time we upload a new video, and hit that like button if you like these kind of videos. And if you got any questions, please hit me below with questions. If you guys can get me enough questions in the comments here after this video is uploaded, I will do a Q&A. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next stream.